So golfers, welcome back. Today what we're going to discuss is probably the most destructive shot in golf and probably the most common shot at golf, which is known as a top shot. So you've kind of been in that position before where you hit a good drive off a par 5, you've got approximately 250 to green, there's a water hazard in front of you, and your average kind of 3 wood normally was about 220. And then what happens is you hit the shot and you top the ball in the water hazard, and then you think, what have I done? So today we're going to give you a video, 3 tips that you can kind of implement within your practice to stop that shot occurring on a regular basis. So a top shot is probably one of the most destructive shots in golf. It breeds kind of it makes people have a lack of confidence, generally doesn't create a lot of consistency, and distance is kind of decreased because of this kind of fault. But the 2 things I kind of normally see within golfers is on the downswing and how that's kind of a common pattern throughout, from kind of high level handicap golfer to low level handicap golfer, is everyone's kind of got the same traits that kind of affects their overall swing. So when a lot of golfers kind of top the golf, what they'll do is they'll get to the top of the backswing, and then what tends to happen is if I was to kind of swing back in that direction, the club's going to hit the ground. But the number one kind of fault I see is when golfers get to the top of the backswing, and then what tends to happen is instead of their chest kind of pointing down towards the target, instead of their right shoulder getting closer to the ground, what tends to happen is golfers kind of stand up, so their chest is no longer level with the ground, their right shoulder is no longer kind of close to the ground. So that is caused by kind of lack of posture or a loss in posture on the downswing. And how do you improve that? What you need to do is try and do the opposite to that, and how they feel is kind of develop that pattern. So as we get to the top of the backswing, if you automatically think about this, when we top the golf ball, everything moves further away from the golf ball. So what I mean by that is, if I was to swing back down that line, keep my posture, keep my knee flex, and keep my spine angle, then everything's going to be able to hit the ground. But what you see is golfers kind of stand up, their chest moves towards the sky too early, their knees kind of straighten, their pelvis moves back the way, and their hips don't really rotate. So what we're going to do here is, as we think about, as you get to the downswing, we're going to feel like our chest kind of runs into the ground, so our chest is more down towards the ground, our right shoulder's in a better position, moving towards the ground as well. That's going to keep the club hitting the ground. So if we top the ball, we stand up, the club moves off the ground and it moves up towards the sky because of we're losing posture. So we get to the top of the backswing, what we want to do is we want to feel like our chest remains down towards the ground all the time. Our right shoulder gets closer to the ground, and that's going to generally help the club hit the ground and stop the club coming up off the ground too quickly. The second part of this video we're going to talk about is arm structure. So what I mean by arm structure is the position of the arms relative to the body. So when golfers top the ball, what they'll do is they'll get their chest to kind of point towards the intended target. But what happens is, because their body's kind of not turning and their upper body stays back to it, their arms kind of bend to hit the golf ball. So you kind of almost get that chicken wing. So think about this one. When we top the golf ball, the club moves off the ground too quickly. And when it moves off the ground too quickly, that's created through our arms bending after impact, almost in that position. So for me to keep the club closer to the ground, that's kind of the main thing to think about when you're struggling topping the golf ball. We need to feel like if we put our arms straight in front of us, so our arms are fully extended, and then we get our arms down towards the ground, the straighter our arms are, the more chance we've got of keeping the club on the ground. If we bend our arms, the club moves off the ground, and then we're going to increase our chances of topping the golf ball. So what we need to do, remember, chest towards the ground, right shoulder moves down, but as we come through, let's say the club's kind of at 45 degrees, we want our arms to remain straight as they can through impact. The straighter we keep the arms, the less chance we've got of topping it, and the club doesn't work off the ground too quickly. So our job to work on is kind of put your left foot against something like a tray where our golf balls, and then what we're going to do from there is, if you bend your arms, then the club head travels a very short distance, right? So the club moves off the ground too quickly, so it travels a short distance. So what we're going to do from there, we're going to feel like we're straightening our arms through impact, and seeing the camera how you can't see the club head, that's because our arms are fully extended after impact, and they're working kind of along the direction of the target line, and the low point is kind of not coming off the ground too quickly, so the club head. So guys, if you've got any thoughts on that video, kind of summarise that. We talked about when you top the golf ball, everything moves away from the ground, chest gets to the sky too quickly, right shoulder moves off the ground, we lose our spine angle. So what we talked about there was we need to keep our chest point towards the ground for longer. Our right shoulder has to remain down through impact, on the downswing at least, and then as we come through, we don't want to bend the arms, don't want to buckle the arms up through impact, we want to keep the arms straighter for longer. That's going to help kind of the club work close to the ground and work our body generally close to the ground. So there's 3 simple tips that you can implement within your practice over the winter. It's coming up to Christmas time, so you might not be getting a lot of golfing at the moment. So make sure you feel free to comment below with what you're working on within your game at the moment and what 2020 would bring to your game in terms of what you need to practice on, what you'd like to see on my Instagram page or my social media platforms in the future in terms of tips you would like to make a cover, short game tips, long game tips, psychology, just so you can start 2020 off on the right track.